With the legendary Broly set to return in the upcoming Dragon Ball Super 2018 movie, are we setting ourselves up for the ultimate showdown between Goku, Vegeta, and all that remains to battle against an opponent who will undoubtedly push them to their breaking points and beyond? As on today's video, myself and members of the Dragon Ball fandom come together to discuss the concept of Ultra Instinct, limits once again being broken, and the potential of seeing Gogeta return for the first time in over a decade, next. If you are new to this channel and enjoy what you see, then don't forget to punch that subscribe button and turn on all notifications by clicking on the bell icon to receive new and daily content on your mobile devices, desktops, and services that I provide, along with following me on these social media platforms to stay connected with me at all times. Thank you so much for your continued support. Now let's begin. With Broly having to be confirmed to be Goku and Vegeta's next enemy in the upcoming Dragon Ball Super 2018 movie, the questions that the fandom is asking is how exactly is Broly going to be portrayed in this upcoming movie, and what exactly is going to be the role of Goku and Vegeta as they battle against Broly in this upcoming movie. As joining me here today to discuss the concept of the Dragon Ball Super 2018 movie are members of the Dragon Ball community located on my Discord, in which you guys can find the link to my Discord down in the description box below. As I wanted to thank and welcome everybody to this discussion, as the concept of Broly in this fandom has created lots of buzz, especially from those that are either against the concept of Broly and for those that are really excited in seeing Broly. And what I wanted to ask everybody universally in this discussion are two very simple questions, in which also reflect onto the audience. So if you guys have anything to add in connection to these questions, drop your comments in the comment section below. Before I get into the questions, the concept of Broly, I believe, needs to be given a chance, because if you guys go back and remember how many times Toei Animation had reused characters in a positive way. As an example, last year by confirming Frieza for the Tournament of Power, nobody ever expected to see Frieza develop the way he did in the Tournament of Power, but yet he still did. And from those that grew to despise Frieza in the beginning, ultimately came to love him by the end. So the concept of Broly here, especially now with him having to be rewritten, is a good thing. So the questions I have for the members of this Discord and for the viewers watching is, of course, number one, what are your thoughts on the concept of Broly having to fight against Goku and Vegeta, and how you guys personally feel about that concept? And the second question to that is, when looking at the Saiyans collectively in trying to create a conclusion, do you guys believe that an Ultra Instinct route with Goku is suitable to happen in this film, or is it possible for us to see fusion, or is it possible for us to see these characters break their limits as said by Vegeta by the end of Dragon Ball Super episode 131? Because when looking at the overall concept and biology of Saiyans always tend to get stronger, as Vegeta had pointed out. So it's really not outside of the realm of possibility for them to get even stronger than how we've seen them in the Tournament of Power. But for me personally, I do believe that they could always introduce various different concepts, including potentially reintroducing Ultra Instinct in this movie, but that all varies on the concept of Broly and how strong he ultimately becomes. So I'm gonna go ahead and kick things off with Emish. And Emish, what are your overall thoughts on the concept of Broly in this upcoming movie?
Alright, so the name of the movie is Dragon Ball Super Broly, the strongest enemy. Highlighted word there, enemy, a Saiyan. So first and foremost, I think we all know, based on history, the strongest enemy that Goku and Vegeta and company faced, the strongest enemy, villain-wise, was Zamasu, not Jiren. Jiren was considered to be more of an adversary, in my opinion at least. Jiren was never really considered to be someone who is an enemy. Goku never really looked at Jiren one time in the Tournament of Power and considered him or talked to him or treated him like an enemy. So I would consider that having Broly, or just the thought process of having someone like Broly come along and he, being able to supersede Jiren, is insane, because Goku doesn't have access to Ultra Instinct, as far as we know now, is an accident. And even if you were to unlock it again, I think it just ruins the concept of Ultra Instinct going forward. Jiren, based on what we know, was considered to be, or rumored to be, the strongest mortal in the multiverse. We would take the word of basically the angels, and at least Whis would know who the strongest being, for the most part, in the multiverse is, and he would at least know that someone in Universe 7 is not Jiren level, let's just say. Obviously, they could rewrite that, but going forward. As far as fusion will be possible only if you want to consider the format of the remastered movies into account. For example, let's just say that tying back into the question about the strongest enemy in Dragon Ball Z based on the movies was Janemba, and they fused versus him. So if you wanted to take that into account, the concept of remastered movies being brought back, Bardock, Gogeta, Broly, and everything else in between that, and if they were to incorporate that all into one movie for the concept of quote-unquote fan service, then yeah, fusion is a definite possibility based on that notion only. But as far as everything else after that, how they would defeat Broly, and where he would stand, I don't see him being Ultra Instinct level. And I do see it being a team effort, just like it was for every other Broly movie. In the first Broly movie, they had to siphon their power into Goku. Goku one-shots him. I hope he doesn't get one-shotted in this movie though. In the second movie, triple Kamehameha. So that was pretty notable. So I'm leaning more in the favor of probably something like the Genki Dama. That's pretty iconic. Maybe something like a final Kamehameha between Goku and Vegeta, not Vegeto, but just Goku and Vegeta, kind of similar to what they did against Universe 9 in terms of power. But something like that makes some kind of logical sense, even though Dragon Ball Super has tendencies to not really make sense all the time. But if they are focusing on the script, if they are focusing on the fluidity in terms of combat performance, everything in between, because we know that's why they changed the whole art style for the most part, animation style, then yeah, I would wager that based on the 3 points that I provided, those would be my personal favorite scenarios to come forth.
Let's say if the concept of Ultra Instinct were to return, I think that personally, looking at it from a subjective bias, I think that would be too much. I think that someone like Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku would easily be able to defeat someone like Broly, given the fact that even if he is stronger than Super Saiyan Blue, considering, his power level, his form, whatever's giving to him, I don't think that Broly should even be anywhere near that kind of a caliber. But let's say if the concept of Ultra Instinct is reintroduced with Goku having to get beat down so severely to where it brings you back to that moment when he was nearly beat to the subconscious level, to where he had no awareness of what he was doing in the Tournament of Power. Let's say if that kind of concept were to return and Goku gets beat down into an oblivion and that ends up coming back, do you think that would mainly fit the story well in seeing that return, and the fact that Goku can once again activate this kind of power, even though it's not to his will, because he told Vegeta at the end of 131 where he does not remember how to go into that kind of power? Do you think that it would be logical for them to reintroduce the concept of Ultra Instinct, or go in an entirely new direction to where if he doesn't know it, there's no reason for him to go back into it, but instead they do something else to where they play off a different situation or a different scenario as we end up closing off the film with them having to fight Broly?
If they want to sell more figures like they did, they want to bring back this quote-unquote accident. We all know accidents happen. Ultra Instinct was an accident, according to the final episode of Dragon Ball Super. But I don't see Broly being anywhere near that level. You're basically saying that he's stronger than Jiren, which is expected, I guess, considering that Goku and Vegeta have come so far. But just generally, no, I don't see them giving someone like Broly that level of power out of the gate, considering that Goku hasn't had the proper training to at least tap into UI at will for the most part. But generally, yeah, I would say that definitely not, unless they want to sell more money. Unless they want to just basically get people to get off their seats and walk out of the movie theater, then yeah, sure. But I don't think they'll make that mistake. Again, the reason I say mistake is because, well, we had Omen, right? And then those figures for Omen were like $150 a piece, give or take, if not more. Same thing for MUI. So yeah, if they want to sell it, I just don't see that being likely. If they want to sell it, yeah, then they can wank Broly to that level, but absolutely not. Like I said, it's going to be a team effort for the most part. If not the Genki Dama, maybe something having to do with Goku and Vegeta. I would say, please, something with Goku and Vegeta. Like I mentioned before, it could be fusion. It could be something along the lines of that. But generally, Broly has been defeated via team effort, not so much by him being so strong that Goku just basically beats him on his own. Goku has never defeated Broly on his own.
Okay, in terms of the route they could take, honestly, I'd agree with fusion because I just love Gogeta and I wish he'd become canon, but that's just being biased. But personally, I'd find it better if they went with the route of breaking their limits, since the whole theme is Saiyans have no limits. So it just follow up with the concept of the movie. And in terms of Broly being relative to Blue and Vegeta Blue after the Tournament of Power, it's just kind of iffy to me, because how would you explain his power being frozen in ice and being a quote-unquote ancient Saiyan unless you give him a new power or Saiyan form we've never seen before? So it's just kind of iffy to me.
Do you think that it's because a lot of people seem to not agree with the concept of Ultra Instinct, since you want to go with them breaking their limits again? Do you think that Ultra Instinct ought to ever return? Because it's not just something that you can easily introduce and have the gods even stand up and respect you for that, and then not have that be brought back again. Do you think that if they were to bring that back, it would kind of devalue the movie a bit more? Because you know that once he breaks beyond that kind of like standard and he goes into Master Ultra Instinct or even Ultra Instinct Omen, it's safe to assume at that point he's going to be on a level that far supersedes Broly, and I don't think anybody, including myself, can buy into the idea of Broly fighting against an Ultra Instinct concept Goku at all. So since you went with the route of them breaking their potential, what are your thoughts on Goku simply having to get beaten into an oblivion to where he achieves Ultra Instinct again, and that were to occur? Would you agree with that or disagree, and why?
As I've been saying for the past like 4 months since we've gotten the teaser trailer, I am totally against Ultra Instinct making an appearance in this movie, because to me, this movie is all about the Saiyans, the origin of their powers, the origin of the Super Saiyan God powers, the whole concept of Saiyan having no limits. And it's like to reintroduce something that is non-Saiyan in a brawl between two very powerful Saiyans, Broly and Goku, especially in this reboot that's mainly focusing on Broly. I just see Ultra Instinct having no place in this movie at all, other than to make money, as Emish said. The whole idea of Broly's power, though, since you're asking me where would you put him in terms of blue and stuff, I just personally don't want Broly to be as much of a threat as Jiren was in terms of his overall level. Because it did say the strongest enemy, and the last enemy we did have was Merge Zamasu. So I'm hoping he's, you know, obviously way stronger than Merge Zamasu, but still not on the level of where he's, you know, portrayed to be, oh, he's Hokaishi level while suppressed and above them while, you know, at max power. It just be a letdown to me, because it's like, okay, what about Jiren? Like, you built up that concept just for him to be replaced so easily by another Saiyan. It's like, come on now, it just be weird to me.
But we've seen based on evidence that each and every single time we go into a new arc or movie, the villain or the opposition that faces off against Goku and Vegeta is stronger. So how do you feel about that? How would you feel if Broly is stronger than Jiren in that concept, if he is?
I mean, you can still create an adversary, an opponent, or enemy that isn't as strong as the previous, but still much of a threat to the point where they'll give the main heroes, you know, a difficulty that's still either harder or relatively the same as the previous opponent they fought prior. So you don't have to make them stronger, but you can give them some type of unique aspect that still makes them a threat of that level to their prior enemy.
In terms of Broly versus Goku and Vegeta, I feel as if Broly is going to definitely be a challenge for them. However, I think that they're going to find a way to soundly defeat him. I do not think that he's going to be as strong as Jiren or even anywhere close. I don't think he's going to reach the level of power that Ultra Instinct was able to reach, not even Omen. He's not going to get anywhere close to that. He's not going to get anywhere close to Jiren. Fusion to beat them, I don't think they're going to need it. I think they're going to best him in terms. It's going to be a close fight, don't get me wrong. Broly is going to thrash both of them to an extent. What I see most likely happening is that they're just going to break their limits again, like they always have. I don't see anything else happening, because fusion just seems too far out there. They've used fusion 2 times already in Super before it ended. They used it in Kefla and Vegito, and it didn't get the job done either times. It was just a wasted idea. And UI, again, it just seems there's no need for UI. There just isn't. Broly, he's gonna give him a fight, but they're gonna soundly defeat him somehow.
But do you think that it's going to be accepted for him to be potentially stronger than Jiren? Because we understand that he's going to be formidable in battle, but we're not sure as to how strong he's going to be. So, in your opinion, Ali, how do you feel about Broly having to be introduced now, having potentially some sort of an upgraded form, maybe a berserker form, a god form perhaps, that can put him to an equal level to Goku and Vegeta? Like, do you accept that in the fact that it might seem like they're going in the right direction by doing that? Or do you think that it would be just kind of like irrational for them to just make him so powerful without there being any logic behind his power?
First off, I want to say, if whatever form he has, I don't want it to be just normal Super Saiyan or Legendary Super Saiyan. I'd much rather have it be like it's a it's a lost form that is the origin of the legend. Whereas like Goku and Vegeta Super Saiyan form is a genetic thing. Broly's is more of a power up, in which it gives them a similar power boost, but it's much more volatile, which led to the legend saying, "Oh, their own power destroys them." And I think that could be a key in defeating him, his own power, eating him up like it did in the first movie. But regardless of the statement, "Oh, each consecutive villain needs to be stronger than the last," I don't think he's going to come anywhere near Jiren, and I don't like the idea of him being near Jiren, because Jiren is the way Jiren's been set up is he's that point that Goku wants to surpass. Vegeta probably too, but putting Broly above that mark would require them to use UI, and that doesn't jive with me. I don't like the idea whatsoever of them having to use UI against Broly. I feel like UI is that form that's the end game for any series. It's the end game for any series, and to use it against Broly would be a waste, in my opinion.
I personally feel as Broly is going to be coming into the series like stronger than them. Like it won't be starting out as a casual brawl. I feel like this will be their strongest like opponent that they face because it's tied to their destinies, and it's just not only because Broly is the legendary Super Saiyan, but he also has the limitless potential of the Saiyans, and they're like purest form, the true Super Saiyan form, like that Vegeta mentioned with Kale. I personally see them breaking their limits. I see it as pushing Goku and Vegeta to the next level, and maybe the other Saiyans, because it would have to continue the story, because all together, in my feelings, he has to be a greater challenge than Jiren. Otherwise, the fight's just pointless. We've seen Super Saiyan Blue get pushed to the max. We've seen Ascended Super Saiyan Blue, and we don't even know if that's even still an existing thing. So I feel they either have to provide a new form, them breaking their limits in some way. I don't want to see fusion. That's just an obvious thing. Like it'd be fan service to see Gogeta.
Well, of course, and
Broly,
they went back and they stated that they're gonna have this movie be centered around fan service. And let's say, as an example, if they do end up getting beat down, but Goku can't go back into Ultra Instinct because he doesn't remember, how would you feel if the only other option is for them to fuse? Now, more or less, it can't be the Potara fusion because they don't have the Potara earrings. Unless it's handed to them by the Supreme Kai somehow or somebody else, then of course. But let's say, as in hypothetical, if it's not the Potara fusion, but it ends up being the Metamorise fusion, how would you personally feel of seeing a concept of Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta fight off against a new kind of level of Broly in this film?
That's the only thing that I guess would be interesting. At least it would provide nice animation, and it would be a great fight if they don't ruin it, if they don't throw it in the end, and he like soul punishes him or something with Super Saiyan Blue. If they make it a nice fight with the animation they're using, then that'll be really enjoyable.
I feel like Broly coming back potentially to be stronger, or at least strong enough to fight two blues. It's a pretty average thing that happens within Z or Super as a whole, because every time we introduce someone who's strong to someone who's going to be stronger. And with this new movie, it's just inherently going to be that way. When Broly comes, he's going to either be equal or stronger to Jiren, which would make sense to why Vegeta and Goku would need to work together to fight Broly. So my thoughts on him coming back to fight those two is, I agree with it. It would have to make sense story-wise, which Akira Toriyama's already stated he's going to rewrite Broly to fit the story and to tell a deeper aspect rather than the original concept of Broly being, like we know he was savage, he didn't have intellect, he was just after Goku to kill him. So him coming back to be rewritten, to be a deeper character, would have to, it make more sense for him to have to be stronger. And since he's going to be written in a matter of to be more intellect rather than just going after Goku as his target to kill him, it'd make more sense for him to have to, for Goku and Vegeta to have to team up. Because alone, if Broly comes back as strong as Jiren, or even stronger, alone Blue wouldn't be enough. And Vegeta's already stated in episode 131, the Saiyans can achieve limitless power and go beyond their limits. Therefore, it logically makes sense for them to have to, instead of like going into a fusion route, because when they fought Zamasu when they fused, the time limit, in my opinion, would be a big issue. Because when they were fighting Zumashu, it looked like they had the upper hand, which is true, until they exerted all their force. If Vegeta is coming back, I'm sorry, Broly, when he comes back, he's going to be as strong or stronger than Jiren. Fusion most likely wouldn't be enough. They would have to either go the route of Ultra Instinct, which I get it wouldn't make any sense due to the fact that they've already stated that Goku will most likely never be able to achieve the form. So the best route would be going to Vegeta's statement saying Goku and Vegeta can have the power to extend their limits to defeat Broly.
So in my opinion, I think I see Gogeta as an option. I could see them doing a Spirit Bomb actually. Not using Ultra Instinct, but maybe like launching their signature attacks into the Spirit Bomb to push it back. So, like maybe Broly would pull like a Kid Buu-esque kind of thing. Like as well, Broly would be a little bit stronger than the Spirit Bomb, be able to push it back, and then they, launch what's called all their signatures into it.
But you're also disagreeing with the concept of Ultra Instinct.
Yes, I am disagreeing with that.
Okay, so why would you be against the concept of Ultra Instinct being introduced? Being that we just saw it in arc prior. So wouldn't that make more sense for them to just bring that back? Even if it's for a moment to where he activates it but can't really go through with it as he did against Jiren, because when we had seen Goku fight Jiren at the end, he flat out said that Goku couldn't harness and suppress that God power that was within him. The God energy that he had, the purity of the God energy, got the better of his body, and thus we saw the purple electricity and Goku went into shock, he fell down, and that was the end of that. So what if something similar occurs to where Goku does beat him down, but then something like that occurs to where he just can't stabilize that? Would that be something logical in your opinion, or do you think that, again, it just would be too much, or maybe perhaps it wouldn't make sense?
I'd be fine with that, since we saw Kale push back Goku a little bit to while he was suppressed, to load him in blue tier.
Now see, with Broly having to come back and be on an equal tier to blue, I really do hope that they dive further into that explanation, because a lot of people within the fandom really want to know how Broly would get so strong in such a short amount of time in fighting Goku and Vegeta, because as, a Saiyan does, you grow during battle, after battle. I mean, that's what Zenkai boosts are for, especially for Saiyans, as they always tend to grow stronger after each and every single battle, unless you're Gohan and you just, regress in your training. But for Goku and Vegeta, they've been fighting their whole lives, and we've seen their evolution, no pun intended, and we've seen their growth throughout the years. It's just really hard to fathom Broly being on an equal tier to that, especially if he was found frozen, or if he's been sealed away, kept captive somewhere else. I definitely like the idea of Broly being introduced, because Toriyama is rewriting the character, and we also understand that Paragus, his father, is also going to be involved. So with that, I think Paragus is definitely going to have some sort of an involvement with his son, whether that be Paragus trying to perhaps have an agenda behind his plan with Broly is unknown, but I'm not really too concerned for Paragus. But for Goku and Vegeta, the reason why I feel like Broly needs to have a huge explanation as to why he would be on an equal tier to Blue Goku and Vegeta is because if this is going to be a rebooted character and we've never seen him before, and if he's supposed to be that powerful, then at least give us a legitimate reason as to why. Perhaps maybe if he does come from an ancient time, perhaps maybe he was waging war during that time, or maybe he was training, giving us some sort of an explanation as to what makes Broly that much more powerful. And I think that going into this film, and we are going to touch up on this on a separate video, so make sure you guys punch that subscribe button to be notified whenever that video drops. And I think that fusion would be a very interesting concept, because if Broly is supposed to be stronger than a Super Saiyan Blue, then what better way in introducing a new character in the main series of Dragon Ball Super than having to bring about Gogeta? And Gogeta Blue versus Broly would be huge fan service, because this film is going to be centered around fan service, and I think that seeing that go down, it would be incredible. However, something also tells me that they're not going to be finished with Ultra Instinct. I can definitely see Ultra Instinct coming back. If Broly just completely shit cans Goku into oblivion, then I can definitely see that happening. But by the end of this, guys, let us know how you guys feel in the comment section below about Broly. What are your overall thoughts on Broly having to fight Blue Goku and Blue Vegeta? And what are your overall thoughts on seeing either fusion or a limit-breaking form, or perhaps maybe Goku tapping back into Ultra Instinct? We want to know your thoughts down below, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys are new to this channel, Don't forget to punch that subscribe button, guys, for more news, information, updates, and discussions such as this in the near future, alongside slapping that like button down below. Also, guys, if you guys want to go ahead and join my Discord and chat with us about the upcoming Dragon Ball movie, I will leave a link to that down in the description box below. Let us know your thoughts as to what you guys expect to see in this movie. More awesome stuff to come. Thank you all so much for watching. Tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing each and every single one of you guys down in the comment section below. Cue that Super Saiyan God outro, bitch.